any declarations of interest of any items on the agenda? Third item is the appointment of Chair of the Authority. Can I please ask for a nomination for the Chair of the Authority?
I'd like to nominate Councillor Les Byron.
Thank you. Thank you. And is that agreed? Thank you. I will now hand over to the Chair of the Authority.
Thank you very much for that moment of power. Thank you. First of all, thank you very much for another year of confidence in running or being the chair of this authority. We've a pivotal year, a very difficult year behind us and a pivotal year ahead. I just wanted, before we, well, I'll tell you, no, we'll move on to the appointment of vice chairs, and I will nominate Councillors Roberts and Grace for the two vice chair positions.
I'll second that, Chair.
Seconded. Is that agreed? Agreed. Thank you. Thank you, colleagues. So we've dealt with the formalities. Could I just...
Second vice chair.
Well, the two positions. Yes, those two names are agreed. Yes. Yeah. So I just wanted to welcome new members. We've actually about a third of the authority has been refreshed and are new. We're having an induction day on Monday, and all members will be welcome to that. But most particularly, new members to the authority are very welcome. I also want to thank outgoing members, those that have left the authority, with particular reference to long-term members, Brian and Barbara, who have taken up the positions of mayors of their respective city and district. And, you know, we will meet with them as the year goes by, and they will be tremendous ambassadors for the service. This has been a very difficult year. These past few months, weeks even, have been busy for Merseyside Fire Service. We've a new top team, refreshed, of our leadership team, and many of our, you know, middle-ranking officers will be changing and coming up. Big opportunity for change and career development within Merseyside Fire Service. I want, on behalf of the whole authority, to thank all of our officers at every level, even, you know, those that do services around headquarters and our fire stations, to our control, our frontline firefighters, those in the workshops who keep the thing running. We've shown our mettle in these past few weeks and this year, you know, we are, as an authority, as a community, as the political leaders of Merseyside, very grateful for all that our great people do. And on behalf of the authority, would you pass those messages back, please? Shauna, who is our Democratic Services Officer, but not here today, I don't think.
No.
I've not seen her.
She's watching, I know
She's
that.
watching. Hello there. She is going away on maternity. Is it a fortnight we're giving her? And then she's coming back in a fortnight. So yeah. She's going away to have her maternity, and so we wish her every success and look forward to her coming back and looking after us like we need, because we do need it. Yes. Thank you. I've got the minutes of the previous meeting. This is item 5, pages 5 to 8. They're printed there. Are they agreed as a correct record? Thank you. Item 6 on pages 9 to 12 is the membership of the authority. And this is to report on those members having left. Do you want to?
Yeah. So, following on from last year, Councillors Tracy Dickinson, Barbara Murray, Brian Kenny, Gillian Wood and Ed Lamb all had their tenure within the authority ended by their respective district councils. We've now received confirmation from each district council within Merseyside of the appointments this year for Merseyside Fire and Rescue Authority, and the full appointments are contained in paragraph 4 of the report, which is on page 10. also worth noting that at the previous AGM in 2021, the PCC Merseyside Emily Sporrell was appointed on the authority, and it's recommended that membership continues. Along with that is we have a co-opted member, Mr Anthony Boyle, who's also previously been appointed to scrutiny and audit as a non-voted member to add additional independent scrutiny for the authority, which again is recommended to continue.
Thank you. So that is presented on the forms here. We'll come to that in a moment. There are a couple of bits and pieces there about the PCC and so forth that are offered. So would all of those points be agreed? Agreed. Thank you. So 7 is the structure of the authority. And the recommendations, you've got the report there. The bulk of it is number 7, existing structure. And the recommendations, if I go through those, determining which committees we wish to establish. So that is to take forward the status quo from last year, or the last municipal year. Determining, I'm going to move this at the end, so this is just the narrative. B, determining the number of voting members to each committee. This is as circulated on the list. Determining number of seats the committees allocate to each political group is as circulated. D, over the page, determining that the relevant political groups can appoint substitute members. That's agreed. Confirming the members will receive special responsibility allowances. That's agreed. The list of lead members has also been either tabled or circulated. It would be agreed. And then H, it would also be agreed. So with that narrative, would all of those recommendations be agreed? Are there any questions? Would they be agreed? Agreed. Thank you. So we move over the page. So meeting dates on 8. Some slight amendments to meeting dates. The 7th of May is election day, and so the authority meeting will be provisionally earmarked for the 14th of May. A laminated card with all of the dates and members and so forth will be available shortly. So are the meeting dates, they change. There's always throughout the year some changes in the meeting dates, but for planning purposes, the meeting dates are offered here. Would they be agreed?
Can I just confirm that's agreed with the change to from the 7th to the 14th of May?
Yes. 9 is the questions on the discharge of functions. Should they occur within our host authorities? Again, the list has been circulated or is tabled with the people in each authority that would be answering questions, should that be the case. Would that list be agreed? Thank you. So 10 is appointment of members on outside bodies, page 33. Let me just turn to that. So the dialogue is there. The recommendations are listed at 2. At B, so these would be recommended or moved, and then at B, the names would be Byram, Roberts and Grace. At C would be Roberts. D, which is Northwest Fire, it's on hold at the moment, but basically it would be the chair. The E, which is the Association of Metropolitan Fire Authorities, again, it's on hold. They don't really meet, but should they hold meetings, it would be the chair and vice chairs. And then at F, the growth platform, which is within the combined authority, would be officer representation. So we would send officers to represent us on the combined authority. So with those comments, would the recommendations at 2 be agreed? Thank you. So 11 is approved conferences and outside meetings. This is more to agree the scope of conferences and meetings that we attend, but just to say, during the years of austerity principally and COVID, we stopped going to conferences really. We do very, very little, and in terms of outside or going to training. But if any member has any thoughts or any ideas that they might like to do some training, formally operated, we'll try and organise our own planning on training, our own training events in-house, but external training for which is paid for, there is a budget for that, and we can do that. But if members would draw that to attention, please. Councillor Murphy.
Is there any possibility of someone's training being delivered online through Teams or Zoom, for example?
Yes, go on, Ria.
Yes, we do. So some of the training we deliver throughout the year, we look to do remotely where we can, or if not, definitely hybrid. We do try to do the same with learning lunches as well. For those who aren't already in the building for the committee, we'll make them available online. The officers here are fantastic. Democratic Services and Ria's team will provide some training, and that can be online. No problem with that. The LGA also provides some training online, and also some of the Northwest employers and people like that. We'll certainly engage with that. Councillor Bell. No? I thought it was you. Councillor Finnan.
Thanks, Chair. I'd just like to point out that myself and Councillor O'Keefe went on a course for the fire thing earlier in the year, and I'd recommend it to people to come along and, you know, take the opportunity to go, because you get an awful lot out of it. It really is worthwhile taking the time to go and get the training. It really is. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you. I think the LGA do organise, and they're going to organise a number of induction meetings for new members of fire authorities, and they also organise induction or training for existing members. There's scrutiny training as well. There's quite a lot of work. There's stuff that's available to support you in your role, both as a fire authority member and as a councillor in general. And we really support that. We really support, you know, development of members in that. So, item 11, are there any questions on that? Otherwise, would the recommendations in 2 be agreed?
Agreed.
So, 12, unusual one, it's been around for a long time. We had it as a contingency for many years. We've not taken up this situation for probably 15 and more years, but it's recommended to keep this facility. If one party were to take it up, it would apply to all parties. Should we get into a situation, we're at a pivotal year, with a lot of change coming, the position of fire within the overall provision of public services is something that we need to work on, and we may need to work on some of our political colleagues as well. So the recommendation is that on 12, the recommendation at 2, A, B and C is agreed. Okay, thank you. 13, members' allowance. This is a backward-looking report. This is the statutory report. It will be published. I think it's possible that the version distributed is to be slightly amended, and that's the amended version, which will, of course, be published. Are there any questions on 13, the backward-looking members' allowances? If not, could that item, just look at the recommendation. The recommendation is in 2. Is that agreed? Thank you. So the next is 14, the scheme of allowances. This is the forward-looking report now. The scheme of allowances for 25-26. Follows the national rules and regulations that we have. It follows the agreements that we've made in the past to link the level of allowance, or the increases in particular, to the datum of the NJC, Principal Fire Employees sort of level. That's worked for us for a number of years now. There are some other discussions in the recommendations in 2 regarding co-opted member and the daily rate. So I offer recommendation 2 to members for agreement. Agreed? Thank you. So now we move to 15, pages 57 to 268, but they haven't been sent out, otherwise there would be forests of trees destroyed. But they are always available online, and I think there may well be copies in the members' room, but always go to the copy online because that will be the most up-to-date version. So there are a number of track changes that are proposed. I'll hand over to Ria.
Thank you, Chair. So the authority is required to have a constitution which contains standing orders to deal with committee procedures, contract standing orders and financial regulations. The constitution is broken down into 5 parts, with parts 1 and 2 relating to the introductory issues. Part 3 deals with scheme of delegation and the terms of references for the committees. Part 4 is the contract standing order and the financial regulations, with Part 5 being the members' code of conduct, along with the allowance schemes and any other relevant protocols. The large majority of the changes this year really relate to typographical errors being amended. The only one of note that has changes within the contract standing orders. Further to the changes within the legislation and the introduction of the Procurement Act 2023. Has been clarified as to the requirements needed for the provision of purchase orders. The issue of utilities and having an exemption of that has been added in. Happy to take any questions.
So there are track changes, as has been said, of a minor nature, nothing particular. Are there any questions particularly on the amendment to the Constitution? If not, can that be agreed? Agreed. Thank you. So next we move from AGM business to more normal business, and that is 16, contract for the procurement of electronic personal, we discussed this, dosimeters or dosimeters. Your pronunciation is your choice. Chief.
Chair, I'll pronounce it slightly differently again. To inform members of the requirement to procure electronic personal dosimeters for the National Resilience Chemical, Biological, Radiological and Nuclear capability, as the value exceeds the procurement threshold of £300,000. And the recommendation is that members approve the award of the contract to Thermo Fisher for the procurement of EPDs from the West Midlands Ambulance Framework for £356,849. As members are aware, MFRA are the lead authority for UK national resilience, and the replacement of EPDs forms part of the New Dimensions 2 project. EPDs are worn by individuals to monitor the exposure to ionising radiation and provide real-life information on the potential radiation dose. The West Midlands Ambulance Framework Agreement operates with a sole supplier agreement exclusively for EPDs, and the sole supplier is Thermo Fisher. Framework is the same framework that was used when the DIM capability refreshed their EPDs in 2022, and the route to market is compliant with the authority's contract standing orders and the Public Contracts Regulations 2015. Funding is part of a grant provided from the Home Office, Homeland Security Group in January 2025, and this grant is paid specifically for national resilience equipment and does not come from MFRA funding. I'm happy to take any questions, Chair.
Thank you. That's the interesting thing again here. This money is not our money. We are managing the procurement and the pass-through of this money on behalf of the government, communities now, was Home Office. and it's significant amounts of money. They like it because we give scrutiny to that as well, which they don't otherwise have. So it's a fairly straightforward, urgent item of procurement business. Are there any questions relating to that? If not, can that decision be agreed? Agreed. Thank you. So next is an exempt item.